Hello, everyone, and thank you, Katie, Gretchen, and Claire, for converging us to share these cross-pollinations. On a sun-drenched day at the Cornell Botanic Gardens, my colleague Jessica Rosenberg and I gathered with our students, listening to birds, bees, and Professor Johannes Lehmann encapsulating his research on the decomposition of organic matter, saying, "Using microscopy, I study the soil to see who's there." Hamlet's opening query sparked a smile between Rosenberg and myself because by the end of that play, who's there in the soil? Pretty much everybody. And the rich terrain whereon we stood, within the unceded traditional homelands of the Haudenosaunee, offered us vibrant greetings in the form of violets, pansies, daisies, and columbines, nestled among rosemary and rue, and even an ancient weeping willow, the specific flora Shakespeare chose for Polonius's green girl, Ophelia. And we wondered, what if rather than her character arc in Hamlet having to be tragically cut short, her struggles with mental illness, hindering the offering of herbs and flowers as healing gifts to the Danish court, Ophelia's seated potential could be empowered, extended outwards in our shared era of ecological crisis, evolving the binary of Hamlet's existential question, you know the one, to engage instead what the late Thich Nhat Hanh proposes, to interbe. And so last fall, we commenced our practice-based research project spanning my 3 performing arts courses, interspersing an array of guest experts from divergent fields, and converging to share our discoveries in an event entitled BIOphelia. As our keynote speaker, Randall Martin, encapsulated in his landmark 2015 book, Shakespearean Ecology, in Hamlet, Ophelia's body becomes food for worms and other microorganisms which feed the fish, which the man catches using the worms who have eaten Polonius, recycle Polonius's body as nutrients back into the soil, to nourish the herbs and flowers Ophelia distributes during her songs, which Gertrude later strews on her grave. Tanya Beer's eco-scenographic model, premised upon nature's cycles, co-creation, celebration, into circulation, served as the basis for our pedagogy and practice, engaged fully by multi-hyphenate artist Adam Washiyama Schulman, cultivating our design world for BIOphelia, culling invasive species from the land surrounding Lehmann's experimental Science Meets Art Center, the Soil Factory. Schulman crafted a vibrant array of performance components, including a botanical dress transporting Ophelia from the isolation of sewing in her closet into a garment garden of plant medicine, poising her for engaging the audience through immersive staging. Post-show, Schulman composted our theatrical materials back into the soil, enriching, for the story of that small plot of land and its microorganisms, who's there. In adapting Ophelia's journey for theater, dance, and film, my students grafted foraged excerpts amidst Ophelia's limbs, including poems, artwork, STEM field journal excerpts, self-written material, and a salient striking excerpt from the Afrofuturist speculative fiction canon. Rivers Solomon's novella, The Deep, taken from clippings song by the same name, about pregnant African mothers-to-be who were thrown overboard during the transatlantic slave trade. But in these artists' retelling, instead of drowning, extend their lineage to become an underwater society, finding new forms, adapting, mermaid-like, which we merged with Gertrude's description of Ophelia, water-bound, as if she were a creature, native and endued unto that element. We wove some dozen or 16 theatrical lines of inquiry into a new textual ecosystem, which were enriched through development with a sequence of guest sessions. Starting in late summer, Rosenberg guided research with Renaissance herbals in the rare book archives, in which one student's discovery of seeds and leaf fragments nestled into the gutter of an ancient tome vividly bridged the lineage of early modern women into their project. In early autumn, Rebecca LaRoche revealed how both the play's ecophobic stranglehold under Denmark's extractive regime by Claudius and Polonius's daughter, confined under household constraints, could be loosed from literary and historical limitations through connecting Renaissance female herbalists to the students' developing character study of Ophelia. In mid-fall, students gathered in the gardens, sensorially experiencing Ophelia's plant friends firsthand and studying these species in relation to ethnobotanical significance and compound composition, wherein Julia Friso delineated how rosemary evolved with the capacities for fitting GABA receptors in the human brain, which Rosenberg furthered in how Hamlet might use the herb to cultivate plant-based remembrances with Ophelia as a boutonniere or gifted nosegay. In late autumn, Michael Charles lensed indigenous resistance in relation to extractive regimes currently wreaking havoc globally, expanding from Hamlet's line, "'Tis the sport to have the engineer hoist with his own petard," as emblematic of our species' Anthropocenic status, overthrown by our own device-oriented obsessions. Charles energized students' personal investment as part of global resistance efforts and in ensuring that Cornell cultivates and adheres to greener practices. Harnessing the resources of the Academy in ways which further suit words to actions beyond the ivory tower, aligned fully with Ophelia's journey. In Taylor Ray's interrogation of our heroine's marginalization and dismissal of her herbal wisdom within Shakespeare's constructed realm, Ray engaged the shared fraught journey of Ophelia and her plants as a microcosm of colonialism's erasure of people, places, and non-human inhabitants. The violence-bent male dominance of the play's tropes, which LaRoche had lifted for us, now also analyzed in relation to global historical narratives and ongoing resistance, opening portals for eco-feminist advocacy and agency. Ray is a member of Rootwork Herbals, the women of color-helmed group of practitioners and educators integral to Ithaca and networks beyond, enfranchising healing plant and land-based practices and teachings. Mid-preparation for the symposium, Rootwork became subjected to racist harassment, threatening their existence by an agenda-bent white supremacist. BIOphelia then adapted its scope, becoming a grafted branch of Rootwork's communal outreach, creating a platform for symposium participants and attendees to facilitate awareness, solidarity, and financial contributions in that collective's endurance work for survival. And within the symposium, Ray guided a female ensemble of Ophelias on stage in actually transforming plants into medicine from pestle to percolator, as the audience watched as one student quietly articulated Ophelia's herbs and flowers named in American Sign Language, foregrounding the plant status as our silent partners and those silenced by oppressive structures, before the diverse chorus of actors voiced Shakespeare's descriptions of the unique properties that these subtle, salient species offer to connect with us. Pansies. That's for thoughts, becoming a vivid reminder that via photosynthesizing the sun's rays, this edible flower's sugars we then digest to interbe, its very materiality comprising the basis of our food for thoughts shared even now. By making and partaking of medicinal tea together in the theater, BIOphelia's performer-spectator divides dissolved, suffused, extending Ophelia's herbal knowledge and agency beyond the tragic genre, and with tiny potted seedlings of rosemary carried in our caring hands, we emerged outdoors, where new memories now held a seat to navigate this distracted globe. And BIOphelia, as a living project, is evolving yet to be a one-woman show featuring the amazing actor Amanda Vialva, as she, with her necessities, embarks to see who's there.